Imagine this. Right now, as you're watching this, the sun is there, right? A constant, unwavering presence in our sky. We take it for granted. It's just there. But what if, tomorrow at precisely noon, it just vanished? Not exploded, not burned out, not turned into a black hole, just poof. Gone. As if someone reached up and switched off the universe's most important light bulb. What happens next? And I don't mean in some abstract, eventually Earth will get cold kind of way. I mean the terrifying, chaotic, scientifically nightmarish play by play. What does it feel like to be alive when the sun dies? How long do we have? And what becomes of our little blue marble as it becomes a rogue planet drifting through the infinite, frozen void of space? Her visual. The screen splits into a clock counting down and a serene image of Earth from space. We're going to walk through the timeline of our planet's final days, hour by hour, year by year, until the bitter end. Buckle up, because this isn't a disaster movie. This is the terrifying reality of a universe that doesn't care about us. And the clock is already ticking. Let's start with the most unsettling part. We wouldn't know a thing for 8 minutes and 20 seconds. The very light that would carry the news of our doom is still on its way. But when it gets here, that's when the nightmare begins. Our sun is roughly 150 million kilometers away. That's a distance so vast that light, the fastest thing in the universe, takes a full 8 minutes and 20 seconds to cross it. That's a known fact. But here's the mind bender. Gravity travels at the same speed. Einstein's theory of general relativity told us that the fabric of spacetime doesn't update instantaneously. It sends out waves, ripples, at the speed of light. So, for that glorious, blissful 8 minutes and 20 seconds, we are completely ignorant. The blue sky is still blue. The birds are still chirping. The planet is still merrily sailing along its orbit as if nothing has happened. We're like Wile E. Coyote running off the edge of a cliff. We haven't looked down yet. The laws of physics haven't caught up with the reality of the situation. Think of an orbit like a ball on a string. The sun's gravity is the string. It's constantly pulling Earth inward, curving our path into an ellipse. The Earth's speed, its momentum, is the ball's desire to fly off in a straight line. These two forces are in perfect balance. It's a cosmic tug-of-war that we have been winning and losing simultaneously for 4.5 billion years. Then, the string is cut. The moment that gravitational news arrives, the balance shatters. The sun's gravitational pull, the invisible chain holding us in our comfortable orbit, is gone. Earth doesn't stop moving. That would defy physics. Instead, it will instantaneously switch from a curved orbit to a straight line. It's a simple but devastating concept. We wouldn't stop. We'd be thrown off the cosmic carousel. At that very moment, Earth's path would become a tangent to its orbit. We would be a rogue planet, aimlessly hurtling through the Milky Way at a staggering 67,000 miles per hour, 30 kilometers per second. Say goodbye to the seasons. Say goodbye to a predictable calendar. We are now a ship without a sail, a planet without a star. And that's precisely when the lights go out. The final photon of ancient sunlight hits the Earth, and then darkness. 8 minutes and 22 seconds after the disappearance, noon becomes midnight. The sky, once a beautiful blue, is now black. You wouldn't see stars immediately, because our eyes would be adjusting from the sudden loss of light. But within minutes, the cosmos would reveal itself in a way no human has ever truly seen from the surface. With no atmosphere lit by the sun, the Milky Way would blaze across the sky like a river of diamonds. The planets, however, would be gone. They'd be dark, dead lumps of rock. The moon, it's gone too. The moon doesn't produce light. It reflects sunlight. For the first few seconds, it might still be visible as a faint, ghostly disk, But as the last of the reflected light reaches us, it will vanish into the void. Our familiar companion, the one that's inspired poets and lovers for millennia, simply deleted from our sky now. You might think the cold would be immediate. It's not. The Earth holds a lot of heat. Oceans, land masses, and the atmosphere itself act like a giant storage heater. We have thermal inertia. For the first day or two, we just notice that the temperature is dropping faster than usual. But within the first week, the global average temperature would plummet to 0 degrees Celsius. It's like a global winter that never ends. This is where the panic really sets in. It's not just cold, it's a darkness that disorients, that terrifies on a primal level. Ecosystems collapse. Photosynthesis ceases instantly. Every plant on Earth is now in a state of suspended animation, unable to convert sunlight into energy. They don't die immediately, but they are now consuming stored energy without being able to replenish it. And what about the weather? The sun is the engine of our weather systems. It drives evaporation, which creates clouds, which creates rain, wind, and storms. Without it, the weather machine shuts down. The wind would die. The storms would fade. We'd be left with a cold, dead, silent world. It would start to snow in places that have never seen snow. The tropics would freeze. It's a silent, creeping apocalypse. This is the moment where the us we know ceases to exist. Society doesn't collapse in a fiery explosion. It freezes to death in the dark one week in, and the food chain is already on life support. Plankton, the base of the ocean's food web, is dying. Plants are dying. The herbivores that rely on them are starving. The carnivores that rely on the herbivores are starving. It's a catastrophic cascade of death, the most rapid and complete extinction event in Earth's history. It makes the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs look like a minor inconvenience. Within a month, the average global temperature will have dropped below 50 degrees Celsius. The surface of the oceans will begin to freeze, creating a skin of ice that spreads from the poles to the equator. The only places on the surface that might remain marginally habitable are areas with geothermal activity. Hot springs, geysers, volcanic vents. They would become the last refuges, tiny pockets of warmth in a frozen wasteland. For humanity, this is the point of no return. Our vast, complex civilization is built on agriculture, logistics, and global trade. All of that relies on predictable weather and the movement of people and goods. In a world of constant night and rapidly plummeting temperatures, those systems collapse. There would be panic, but it would be a cold, desperate panic. The lucky ones would find shelter. The unlucky ones, well, the only hope for long-term survival, and I use that word loosely, would be to go deep, deep into the Earth's crust. Our planet's core is a giant ball of molten iron and nickel, as hot as the surface of the sun. That heat is generated by radioactive decay and leftover energy from Earth's formation. That is our only salvation. We would have to build bunkers, entire underground cities, powered by geothermal energy. It would be a desperate, matrix-like existence, tapping into the Earth's dying heartbeat. But even then, it's a lottery. This is a life without the sun. It's a life of eating mushrooms grown under artificial light and recycled human waste. It's a life where you never see the sky. It's a life where hope is a luxury you can't afford. 1 year after the disappearance, the surface temperature has plummeted to around 100 degrees Celsius, and it's still falling. The oceans, the lifeblood of our planet, are now a frozen crust up to several meters thick. The atmosphere itself is starting to behave strangely. As it cools, it will condense. The gases that make up our air, nitrogen, oxygen, argon, will begin to freeze out and fall to the surface as snow within 1,000 years. The Earth would be a frozen, airless ball of ice. The atmosphere, what's left of it, would have collapsed to the surface, leaving the planet exposed to the full fury of cosmic radiation and solar winds from other stars. It would look a lot like Europa or Ganymede, the frozen moons of Jupiter. The surface would be a barren, airless wasteland, bombarded by radiation, but this is where the science gets fascinating. The entire ocean wouldn't freeze solid. Not for a long, long time. Ice is a fantastic insulator. The top layer of frozen ocean would act like a blanket, trapping the Earth's internal geothermal heat in the depths below. The deep ocean, millions of cubic miles of it, could remain liquid for hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of years. It would become a dark, primordial soup, a refuge for life that evolved at hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor. Life would survive, but it would be a shadow of its former glory. No fish, no whales, just bacteria and other extremophiles clinging to existence near the geothermal vents. This is Earth's final form for the near future. A rogue planet, a frozen tomb. We wouldn't even be a planet anymore, really. We'd be an ice ball with a liquid core, traveling at 30 kilometers per second through the void. The fate of our solar system would be even grimmer. Jupiter, with its immense gravity, might keep some of its moons. But the inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, they'd just be dark, frozen rocks sailing off in random directions, never to see a star again. The solar system, which has existed for billions of years, would be no more. It would have disintegrated into a collection of solitary dead worlds. So is that it? Is the story over? A frozen, dead planet hurtling through space for all eternity? Well, this is where we get into the realm of cosmic speculation. A dead planet doesn't have a funeral. It just has a very, very long journey. For 1,000,000 years, the Earth continues its lonely journey. The internal heat of the core keeps the deepest oceans liquid, but the surface remains a frozen, sterile tomb. However, our trajectory through the galaxy is no longer determined by the sun. We are now a ship at the mercy of the cosmic currents. Other stars, with their immense gravity, will tug on our little planet. We are a rogue planet, a wanderer. And here's the most hopeful theory, the Goldilocks, second chance. The Milky Way is huge. There are countless stars out there. Over millions of years, there is a tiny, almost inconsequential chance that Earth could drift into the gravitational influence of another star. A new sun. If that happens, and if we are lucky enough to end up in the habitable zone, the Goldilocks zone where liquid water can exist, something miraculous could happen. The ice would melt. The frozen atmosphere would boil off and reform. The water that was trapped as ice would become liquid again. It would be a planetary resurrection. The question is, would life survive? The extremophiles in the deep ocean, the ones thriving on geothermal vents, they'd be fine. They might be the only survivors. They could repopulate the oceans, re-evolve, and start the whole process over again. In a way, it would be a new genesis. A new chance for life to evolve on a world that once had it all and lost it. But what about us? What about the bunkers? What about the underground cities? It's hard to imagine any human civilization surviving 1,000,000 years of isolation in the dark. The energy requirements alone would be staggering. The psychological toll of knowing the sun is gone, of never seeing the sky, that would break a species long before the cold did. So, if humans are still around to see that new dawn, they wouldn't be human in the sense we understand. They'd be a new species, shaped by the darkness, living in the deep. Perhaps they'd be myth, making creatures who tell tales of a golden age, a time when the sun shone and the world was green. A world they can't even imagine, but one they desperately long for. So, the terrifying reality of a world without the sun is not just a story about the end of the world. It's a story about resilience. It's a story about the power of gravity and the nature of light. It's a profound reminder that we are not the center of the universe. We are a tiny blue speck, clinging to a star. Our existence is dependent on a delicate cosmic balance that could be shattered at any moment. The next time you step outside on a sunny day and feel that warmth on your skin, pause for a second. Feel the gravity of the situation, quite literally. Appreciate the chaos we're so luckily avoiding. We are beings of starlight, and without that star, we are nothing. But here's the thing. This is just one scenario. What if the sun didn't disappear, but exploded? What if it turned into a red giant and swallowed the earth whole? That's a story for another time. If you made it to the end of this terrifying journey without running for the hills, then you're exactly the kind of cosmic explorer we're looking for. Hit that like button, subscribe for more, and let us know in the comments. If you had to survive in a world without the sun, where would you hide? The deep ocean or the underground bunkers? We'll be right here in the dark with you,